Brazilian President Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva urged the United States President Donald Trump to lift the punitive trade tariffs in their first official talk on the Monday after months of anonymity and animosity between them, with both suggesting an in-person meeting in the near future. Also, the two leaders spoke for 30 minutes in a friendly tone, and also Lula da Silva raised the possibility of a meeting in the Malaysia next month, the Brazilian presidency said in the statement. Also, Lula requested the removal of the tariffs imposed on his country's products and the sanctions against the Brazilian officials. Trump hailed a very good telephone call. In a post on the Truth Social, we will be having further discussions and will get together in the not too distant future, both in the Brazil and in the United States, he said without adding any details. Ties have soared between the Washington and Brasilia in the recent months, with Donald Trump angered over the trial and conviction of his ally, the far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro. Also, Donald Trump has imposed a 50% tariff on the Brazilian products and imposed sanctions against several top officials, including a top Supreme Court judge, to punish Brazil for what he termed a witch hunt against Bolsonaro. We are very optimistic that we will move towards a win-win situation in this relationship, said the Brazil's Vice President Geraldo Alckmin, who also has been tasked with continuing negotiations with the United States Secretary of the State Marco Rubio. He also noted the call had gone even better than we expected and that the two presidents had exchanged personal phone numbers. Excellent chemistry, let's see how. The phone call came after what first appeared to be a chance encounter on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly last month that led Donald Trump to hail his excellent chemistry with Lula da Silva. However, a Estado news site reported the brief run-in, which also included a hug, was actually the result of an intensive behind-the-scene diplomatic operation. In the speech to the United Nations, the Lula also slammed an unacceptable attack on the independence of the Brazil's judiciary. Despite the political and economic pressure, Brazil's Supreme Court sentenced Bolsonaro to 27 years in prison for his role in the botched coup bid after his 2022 election loss to the Lula. Trump, meanwhile, used his United Nations speech to accuse Brazil of censorship, repression, and judicial corruption. He later switched tack and recounted his run-in with the Lula, describing him as a very nice man actually. The two men stand on polar opposite sides when it comes to issues such as multilateralism, international trade, and the fight against climate change. The Brazilian presidency said that Lula had raised the possibility with Donald Trump of an in-person meeting at the Association of the Southeast Asian Nation, that is the ASEAN Summit in the Malaysia that is going to be held in the October. He also reiterated an invitation to Donald Trump to attend the COP30 climate conference in the Brazil's Amazon city of the Belém in the November, and also expressed his willingness to travel to the United States. No one to talk to? The Lula has repeatedly stated that the Brazil was ready to negotiate regarding the tariffs, but lamented there was no one to talk to in the Washington. A Brazilian government source told the Millennium the private sector played a key role behind the scenes in the rapprochement with the Washington. It also citing the meeting between the Donald Trump and the Brazil's billionaire, that is beef tycoon Jocelyn Batista, at the White House. Batista's JBS played an important role, but it wasn't the only one, that said the source. A European diplomat also told the Millennium, on the condition of anonymity, that the Brazilian aircraft manufacturer Embraer also had put pressure on the White House. Trump's tariff mainly target major Brazilian export, that is beef, coffee and sugar. The Brazilian trade data for the September released on the Monday showed that exports to the United States fell 20.3% compared with the last year, while the imports from the United States rose 14.3%.